Welcome to this episode of Chattin With Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got a really good one for you guys. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, make sure it's on all so you get all my videos. Got a lot of great interviews dropping, and the guests just keep getting better and better. I don't put myself in one bracket like a lot of these people do because I'm not like them. You will learn that. But anyway, I'm not going to keep you. Let's get to the content. I hope you guys enjoy this one, and I'll see you.
An all-new 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged, and investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.
FBI, open up!
Welcome to this episode of Chattin With Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Chris Carroll.
Bill, what's going on?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Yeah, so you have a really interesting story. You're here to explain some things to me. Where it all started for you.
Yeah, let's do it. You know, I'm ready to do it.
Yeah.
So
where were you born and raised?
you know, I grew up as a kid in the Midwest in Chicago, Wisconsin area, but I came out to Vegas when I was just in junior high. So except for a 5-year stint in San Diego, I've pretty much been in Vegas my whole life. So it's definitely my hometown, and I still live here.
What was your first experience on getting involved with law enforcement? Was that your career choice when you were younger? Did you want to do that?
Yeah, I had 2 uncles when I was a teenager, and they were both LA County Sheriff's Department. So I would go on ride-alongs with those guys, and I'm like 14, 15 years old, very impressionable age. And I'd go out with those guys, and I was just like, oh man, this is for me. I couldn't really see doing anything else from that point on. So that was what I wanted to do. And for me, police work was kind of like a round peg in a round hole. It just fit with me. It went with me. It was right for my personality. I liked doing it. I liked to think I was good at it. So it went well, and I really couldn't see myself doing much else.
When you first joined the force, was there any major events that happened before this major event?
Oh yeah, this is definitely the one that's going to stick around, for the rest of my life. But out here in Vegas, there's always things happening. There's a lot of when I say there's a lot of crime, there is a lot of crime, but it's still a relatively safe city to walk the streets, so to speak. But we do have our bad sections of town. We're not really that small a city anymore. There's 2 million people here. A lot of things happen, and just the nature of the city. And you get a lot of celebrities rolling through, or a lot of celebrities that live here. And, when you're on the police department, you're constantly mixing it up with these people, not always in a bad way, a lot of times in a good way. But you work on filming sets for movies, and there's interesting things happening. And, I worked undercover in Vice for a few years, and, there was just never really a dull moment. So, I did it for 25 years, and, I was kind of fortunate in that I started when I was 21. So, the way things were set up here is once you did 25 years, you could leave with a full retirement, regardless of your age. And I'll admit, by the time 25 years was up, I'd pretty much had it. It had run its course. I went hard for 25 years, and I was ready to get out of it. And of course, once you get out of it, after you spend a little time, now I kind of miss it. But fact is, it's sort of a young man's sport. And when you it's like playing pro sports. When you age out, you age out. So it was time to go, and it was good for me, and I'm glad I did it.
What are some of the names of the celebrities that you ran across during your time? Is there?
I've run into Mike Tyson under a few different circumstances. My guys, when I had the domestic violence unit, I left as a lieutenant, so I was in charge of domestic violence, sexual assault, missing persons. We did Floyd Mayweather's arrest. We responded to a host of professional athletes all the time in a both as victims, usually as victims, really, for professional athletes, sometimes as suspects for various crimes, large crimes and small crimes. So, everybody comes here to party. All these people with money, athletes and movie stars and everything, when they get their chance, they come to Vegas.
Yeah.
So everybody comes through here. And you also got a lot of people that are just the opposite. They're just kind of drifters. They're looking to stay away from the law. They're looking to stay low. They figure I can go to Vegas and probably blend in. There's so much going on there. Harder to find people in big cities with a lot of stuff going on. So we get a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, but you have to register if you're a felon when you come out.
If you move here.
Yeah.
If you move here, you do. Matter of fact, maybe it's changed since I've been working, but it used to just be 48 hours, which is not that long. So you'd get a lot of people in violation of that. You wouldn't always act on it, but it was always a tool you can use if you had somebody you're trying to keep your eyes on.
It's a charge, right? That's a
Sure.
charge.
Yeah. Ex-felon failure to register. Yeah.
And does it carry jail time?
Probably. It's up to the judge at the end of the day, but it's definitely something you do a little time for. First offense, probably, minor league stuff, misdemeanor stuff. Might end you the first time you're probably doing a night in jail, realistically, but after that, it's going to start adding up.
Did you ever run into Suge Knight?
Oh no, he's in prison now.
No,
so
did you ever run into him before this situation happened out in Vegas?
Yes. When I was in charge of the domestic violence unit, I got a call that Suge Knight had been involved in a pretty serious domestic violence incident. And I knew it would be press worthy. So I got a hold of that. It was a young officer who had responded to that. And I said, hey, tell me everything, because I'm probably going to have to talk to the press. I want to make sure I get it right. So we had gotten a call of a woman being beaten, literally like in a street corner type situation, which is kind of rare because, domestic violence usually happens in the home and things. And it's you don't see it happen. Nobody usually sees it happen. But in this case, it was out in a public place, and there happened to be a patrol officer there very close when the call came out. So he got there in probably less than a minute, and Suge Knight was literally on top of this woman and had a knife in his hand and was getting ready to stab her. And the young cop pulled out his gun, told him to drop it, and Suge Knight looked over and he did. And he dropped it. And it was his lucky day, because I think that could have gone bad for him real quick. And so he got arrested for that. Now, I didn't personally see Suge that night, but I ended up doing a press conference on it later on. So since I never ran into him face to face after the Tupac incident.
What did you ever have any run-ins with Tupac before this happened?
So, I'm sorry. Can you say that again? I couldn't hear.
Did you have any run-ins with Tupac in Las Vegas?
No,
before
had never seen him. Had never seen him before the night.
Did you hear about the fight that happened in the casino that night?
I did, and to tell you the truth, when that call came out, it wasn't really a big deal. Now in hindsight, it had a lot to do with a lot of things. But at the time, it was a Mike Tyson fight night. And a Mike Tyson fight night was the biggest night there is in Vegas. It's kind of like the Super Bowl, but it happens about 4 times a year. And when Mike Tyson fought, every gangster, thug, pimp, whore on the entire West Coast came to Vegas on those nights. They were unbelievable. And you know what? Since Mike's retired, no one else has really had that happen since. No one really brought him in. Mayweather did a little bit, but there's nothing before or since what would happen like when Mike Tyson was fighting. So it's never quite come around like that again. But those nights were always huge nights for the cops. It was going to be a big night. And that was, so it was a big night going into it. So you start, as the night progresses, you start running into problems, all kind of trouble. Now, given that whole gravity of that situation, and you've got the entire Las Vegas Strip, the call comes out, a fist fight in the casino. Nobody's really injured. I mean, yeah, beat up, yeah, but nobody's shot, stabbed, laying in blood, nothing like that. And basically after the fight, security shows up and everybody splits. So it's done. There's really nothing even to go through. It's like a fight happened and now it's done and everybody's gone. You know, there's not a lot to do. You know, like I said, as it turns out, historically, it turns out to be a significant fight. But at the time, it didn't really mean hardly anything.
So what was your day like that day? Like, did you go
so
in
I
the
was
morning?
working swing shift, which is like 3 p.m. till 1 a.m. So I was a sergeant at the time. So as a sergeant and bike squad, when I say bike, I mean bicycles, not motorcycles. So I had a squad of officers, about 12 officers who worked for me, and we would go out. And there was also another squad working that night because it was a weekend night and it was a Mike Tyson night. So there's 2 squads working. I was the only sergeant working. So typically the sergeant rides alone and all of the officers ride in pairs. And that's what was happening that night. So I was, things aren't too bad before the fight because it's still early and everybody's kind of gearing up for the fight. So when the Tyson fight started, that was the night he fought Bruce Seldon that night, a 1-rounder. And it's funny because when the fight's going on, it's like the world stops. Nothing happens like while the fight's in progress. The world stops. So of course, nothing happened during the fight. And then as soon as the fight lets out, things start going downhill. So, and that was typical of every one of those nights, and it was typical that night. So I don't remember exactly what time the fist fight in the MGM. Well, I call it a fight. It was really just a beat down. It was really just like a 5-on-1 beat down is all it was.
Yeah.
So that happened earlier in the night sometime. And then, various things are going on throughout the night. Nothing.
You're having to show up. So the 2 pairs of cops, you're having to show up to each incident, right? Yeah.
Not every incident. There's like 24 cops out there working, so I can only show up to so much. But I'm in charge of kind of overseeing the whole thing. If there's something significant going on, somebody significant in trouble, anything like somebody gets hurt, I need to go out to those type of situations. And I was outside of the MGM on my bike when things started. Did you want to go in? Did you want to go right into that part right now?
Yeah, you could.
Okay. So I'm outside of my bike, and just for people who aren't familiar with Vegas, so the fight was at the MGM, which is on the Strip. I was outside the MGM on my bike in an area right next door where things were shady. You had kind of a shady crowd and a lot of people and potential for things to turn, and it's right outside the fight. So I was over there, and I heard 2 officers come on the radio and start yelling that their shots fired. I could hear right away that they were, there was excitement in their voices. And that was at Flamingo and Koval, which is maybe like 1.25 miles and 1.5 miles from where I was at. They put out that the shots had been fired at Flamingo and Koval. So those guys were in a parking structure on their bikes. So they're about 5 floors up in a parking structure. But, a parking structure is open air, so you can hear and see. As long as you go to the edge of the building, you can hear and see what's going on down below. So they didn't see the shots fired, but they heard them. So they rode their bikes so they can see what's going on. And as soon as they look out there, they see an entourage of like 5 cars all fleeing from the area in the same direction. Now, they don't know who is shot who, which, where the bullets came from, where the bullets landed, nothing. All they see is all of these cars racing away. So they go in pursuit of like the 5 cars, but it takes them a minute or 2 to get down there because they've got like 5 floors to drive their bikes down to get down there, and the cars are already leaving. So they take off in pursuit of them. And it's funny down there, like when you chase a car on a bike, they can't necessarily just step on it and disappear because there's too much traffic. So it's not like they're chasing them on the freeway where the car's just going to leave them in the dust. The car is kind of held up by traffic. So it's almost an even race, you know? Yeah. And so they're on bicycles and they're a block or two back from these cars, and they're heading towards the strip. Now, of course, as you get closer to the strip, the traffic gets a little worse all the time. So originally they're able to get away from that scene pretty quick, but it's only about 2-3 blocks to the strip. So they're heading to the strip on Flamingo, and they put that call out. So I started on my bike north on the strip, which takes me towards that direction. So I'm going out there on my bike. I'm going as fast as I'm able to, and I can go wrong at a pretty good clip on a bicycle. And you know, they're still chasing these guys. They're putting out their location, and I realize we're getting closer and closer to each other. So when they get to the strip, and when I say they mean the entourage and everybody, they hang a left, which is southbound. I'm going northbound. So now I know we're heading towards each other. And I'm kind of thinking, I don't know how I'm going to even stop these guys on my bike. I don't know if I can stop them. I'm on a bike. They're already running for the cops, but what are you going to do? You just do what you can do. So I was heading towards the direction. Well, when we got to an intersection at Harmon Avenue, which right now is where City Center is, which is a very large complex over there on the strip. I'm trying to think of where Cosmopolitan is and so forth. And it wasn't there then, but the street was still there. So Harmon and Koval was there. And when they hung a left, we kind of reached that intersection literally at the same time. So they hung a left right in front of me. And what happened is when they did that, the car spins out. You can see the tires right there. It's funny. I was looking at the background. Yeah. They had 2 flat tires. Tires were flat from smashing into a curb when they were getting out of there. You can see the huge dents in the rim. The tire is off the bead. There you go, right there. Yeah. The beads are off the tires. So they got 2 flat tires, and they're trying to take the turn too fast. So they spin out, like literally in the middle of the intersection, and all the other cars pull in. And I laid down my bike. We all came sliding in, and I mean, I'm right on top of them. And you got to remember, I don't know who's who. I don't know who's a shooter, who's not a shooter. So all the doors fly. Everybody comes to a stop. All the doors fly open on the cars, and everybody jumps out. And I thought for sure, I'm like, oh man, we're going to shoot it out right here in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip. And as stupid as it sounds, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be in so much trouble. I was like, I'm going to get in the middle of a shooting here in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip, the worst place on the planet to have a shootout. But it's landed in my lap, and I got to do what I got to do. So I pulled out my gun and I started yelling I'm pointing at everybody. There's like, I couldn't tell you exactly, 7, 8 guys all get out of the car, and you could tell immediately, like, these are some fairly hard guys. These aren't just guys driving to work or something. They're pretty rough looking. And I'm just like, I'm in a bad spot. I knew it right away. It was in a bad situation. So I'm trying to point the gun at them, and I'm yelling, I'm going from person to person, yelling them to get down on the ground. So my thought is I'm just going to lay them down on the ground till some help shows up, and then we can start dealing with them. So, and I'm waiting for the bullets to start flying. Never happened. No shots.
So they're laying on the ground as you're yelling.
Well, and here's the thing. Some of them lay down, some of them don't. They're kind of looking at each other like, do we listen to this guy? And I think they're trying to size up. Do we run? Do we listen to him? And what do we do? There's kind of like a highly uncomfortable few seconds there where we're all kind of looking at each other, and everybody's just kind of sizing each other up going, what exactly is going to happen here? So they kind of, I would say they kind of passively went along with the program. Some of them laid down, but a lot of them were kind of like, I'll duck down, but I'm not really going to lay down. And we're doing that. And I'm just trying to scan everybody's, I'm looking for somebody with a gun, which I don't see. But then I noticed when I looked into one of the cars that had pulled up, the one with the smashed tires, there was still a guy sitting in the car. And I was like, okay, that's the guy that's going to shoot me, because I'm like, I can't see him. I can't see his hands. He could be doing anything. He could be loading up a machine gun for all I know. I'm like, that's the guy I need to concentrate on. So I pointed my gun at the car, and I'm coming up on the car and, yelling at him to show me his hands. He's not doing really anything. He's not even looking at me. but I could tell, he's still alive and he's sitting up and he's facing forward. He's in the passenger seat of the car. So I came right up on the car and I went to grab with my left hand and open the door. Well, when I went to grab the door handle, I can see right around the door handle, there's bullet holes, just like right around the handle. And I'm trying to pull the door and it doesn't feel like it's locked. It feels like it's broken. And I think what happened, I still think this is the case. I think the bullets had damaged the door mechanism. Not completely blown it away, but it was damaged, like where I couldn't open the door. So I'm tugging and I'm pulling and I'm yelling at him to show me his hands. And he's just kind of sitting there.
Is the window
finally,
down? Is the window down?
The window is down. Yeah. So I can see him. I can see him right there, but I can't really see into his lap or anything. And I'm trying to keep a little bit of a distance between me and him so I can back out of there quick if I need to. Well, I finally pulled open the door. It popped open. And what happened was, and it turns out to be that this is Tupac sitting in the car. Tupac is sitting in the car. So when I open the door, he's kind of leaning against the door. So that when the door opens out, he slumps out. His body slumps out with the door. Like he can't really move. He's just, his body weight is carrying him out. So I grabbed him with my left hand. We both kind of went down the pavement together. Well, as soon as I went down the pavement with him, Suge Knight is running up my back and he's yelling at him. He's yelling, "Pack, pack," and he's screaming at him. Well, I look back at Suge Knight and this guy's like 6'8", 400 pounds, and he's running right up on my back. And I'm thinking, if this dude jumps on my back, I'm in trouble. So I turn around and I point the gun at him. I was like, "Get away from me, back off." And he would, kind of back off for a second, take about 10 steps back, and he's still just yelling, "Pack, pack." And I could see Tupac is kind of looking at him, but he can't really get a breath together. And that's when I first, I'm get a good look at Tupac, and he's in bad shape. He's got several torso hits. He's wearing a lot of gold jewelry, and he's bleeding badly. His jewelry is covered in blood. He's got like I said, multiple torso hits. You can't even really tell where they're from. I think he was also hitting the hand and the leg. So he's shot up pretty good, and he's got blood coming out of his mouth and nose. And I saw the blood coming out of his mouth and nose. I was like, this guy's probably going to die.